We are taking phone calls at 617-830-4750. Our next caller is from the 904 area code. Let's start with your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, my name is Matt, and I'm calling from Orlando, Florida.
Awesome. What's on your mind, Matt?
So a decent portion of climate scientists are funded, whether through academia or through business interests. Do mainstream climate scientists have a motive to underreport what is going on with the climate?
So by mainstream, do you mean the ones funded by corporations and educational institutions? I want to make sure I have the question right.
Well, mainstream is in like those kind of scientists, but mainstream also is in like ones that might work in universities or in sort of an academic capacity.
Well, I think there's no blanket answer to that. So big picture, we have overwhelmingly climate scientists believe that human activities on Earth are impacting the climate. Donald Trump, for example, has said that he believes human-affected climate change is a hoax created by the Chinese for the purposes of bolstering Chinese manufacturing, rather. So there's two different views. One of them is the overwhelming consensus of science. If you were to look at some individual studies at universities, for example, you can find individual university studies that are underwritten by corporations that have a vested interest in continuing to exploit the fossil fuels and natural resources of the planet. So you could make the argument that there might be a conflict there, and that the professors and scientists doing the investigation would have sort of a financial motive for underreporting the severity of climate change. However, most scientists I've spoken to at universities have been pretty clear that even in cases where they know that their work is partially underwritten by, for example, a fossil fuel company or one of these oil lobbies or industry groups, that really it's pretty clearly separated what they are doing from that one of these organizations may be funding them. So I've not spoken to too many scientists who truly feel that at the academic level, they have any kind of incentive to underreport the severity of climate science. But of course, we've known that for decades, companies, including ExxonMobil, whose CEO is going to be our incoming Secretary of State, which is incredibly disturbing, they've known for a very long time about the connection between human activities on Earth and the impact on the climate. And they funded what's called sort of doubt studies, which cast doubt onto the source of some of this climate change. So it exists, but by and large, I don't know that I would assume that in academia, you're seeing an underrepresentation of it. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I would obviously say that media is underreporting it, a lot of mainstream media.
Yeah.
But I've just seen so many studies that have displayed the severity, and I just don't see it talked about enough.
Yeah, and what corporate media also does is they do the false balance thing, which is in order to be perceived as fair, they'll say, well, we'll bring on two people to talk about this, one that believes what the 98% of climate scientists say, one that believes what the 2% say, but we'll pretend like there's really a 50-50 debate here. And that's a corporate media tactic that's really, really destructive. Thank you so much for the call. I really, really appreciate it.